Do you ever open an app, ready to share something, and then just don't? You find yourself quietly observing, scrolling, liking, living your digital life behind a glass wall. What if that hesitation, that silence, isn't a flaw? What if it's a doorway into who you really are? And the very reasons you hold back are the keys to understanding yourself more deeply. Today we'll journey into the silence, yours, mine, ours, and discover what it's really trying to say. Welcome to Inner Compass. Here, this isn't just another conversation about algorithms or going viral. It's about the most important algorithm, the one guiding your heart, your self-expression, your self-protection. Social media can feel like a busy crossroads, but maybe you're the one standing on the sidewalk, backpack slung over one shoulder, hesitating before stepping in. I know that spot, because it's one I visit often. And together we're going to ask, what is your digital silence made of? Is it fear? Is it discernment? Is it woundedness? Or is it wisdom? 1. The many stories behind posting. Little or nothing. Let's begin with a truth that rarely gets whispered. Posting less doesn't mean living less. In fact, it often means quite the opposite. A life so rich, so intricate, so real, it feels too sacred to be compressed into pixels. For some, low activity online is a boundary, a little garden fence around a life lived offline. For others, it's self-doubt talking. Is what I say even worth it? Sometimes it's not about the world at all, but about energy, bandwidth, the need to retreat and recharge. Remember that friend who seems to vanish between posts, surfacing only for life's milestones? Maybe you're that friend. Or maybe you've felt the tug of war between wanting to speak up and feeling ghost-like in a noisy timeline. It is like bringing a dish to a potluck and worrying everyone else brought something better. So you keep yours under foil, just in case. Everyone's silence holds its own reason and rhythm, and that's where our journey begins. You might also recognize moments when your silence was a decision, not an accident. Think of those nights you chose to savor a sunset instead of snapping 30 photos for a story. There's magic in keeping some moments private, making memory your only archive. This isn't just restraint, it might be wisdom, an early sign of valuing presence over applause. But are you choosing, or are you hiding? That's the question we'll carry forward. 2. The origins of digital discomfort, self-doubt, comparison, and fear. Why do we hesitate to share our voice? The roots go deep, often back to childhood, to the first time we were told, be quiet or don't show off. Maybe you've felt that old ache bubble up as your finger hovers over the post button. For many, there's a sneaky voice. Who cares? You're not interesting enough. These are echoes, not prophecies. Let me tell you about Maya, who once told me, I feel like everyone online is running a race I didn't know ID entered. She would plan a post, second-guess it, and leave it in drafts, caught in the fear of being judged. Maybe you see yourself there too. Social media thrives on a carousel of highlights, vacations, graduations, perfect lattes. Yet real life? That's messy, non-linear, beautiful in its wildness. The gap between the two can feel like a canyon. But here's an invitation. Next time self-doubt knocks, pause. Ask yourself, is this my voice or someone else's rule I've internalized? Maybe, just maybe, your silence is the first step to breaking a pattern, one that kept you silent long before social media was even a thing. Stay with me, because we're about to journey deeper into the wild heart of this hesitation. 3. When silence is self-protection, boundaries is wisdom. Sometimes, silence isn't timidity. It's a fierce boundary. Have you ever felt that urge to keep a memory just for you? A piece of joy too precious to risk in the chaos of likes and swipes? That's not fear, it's discernment. Social media, for all its power, is a noisy room, and not every story belongs in public view. A friend of mine, David, once told me how he posts almost nothing. Not out of shyness, but because he treasures stillness. For him, sharing is like opening a window just a crack, letting only a little light in, on his terms. Maybe your silence is your way of only sharing what feels true, and only when it feels right. If this resonates, I invite you to honor that wisdom. The art is not in posting more, but in choosing what matters to you. Imagine your online presence as a garden. What do you want to plant there? What weeds are crowding out your joy? Tending this digital space can be as intentional and as sacred as taking care of your offline soul. Now let's ask, what happens when boundaries become walls? 4. When healthy boundaries become isolation. Spotting the shift. Boundaries protect, but sometimes they become barriers. If you've ever felt lonely watching others share but couldn't bring yourself to reach out, you know this tension. Maybe silence has shifted from refuge to prison. You linger on, what if? What if they forget me? What if I vanish offline and no one notices? This was the experience of someone I'll call Sam. For months he stopped posting and stopped responding to DMs, at first enjoying the break but soon feeling more and more unseen. The digital silence started echoing into his real world. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Here's a gentle nudge. Are you feeling invisible, or does being unseen bring relief? Sometimes connection is just one brave message away. A meme sent, a comment left, a photo shared not to impress but simply to say, I'm here. Doing so, even once, is like breaking a little hole in the wall, letting some sunlight in. Could you try that this week? Just a ripple, you might be surprised by what returns. Before we dive deeper, can I ask you something personal? If these words stir something in you, if you recognize your own reflection here, why not join our Inner Compass community? Subscribing isn't just about getting new videos. It's about choosing a space where your silence is honored, your voice is welcomed, and your journey is witnessed. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never travel this path alone. Now, back to the journey. 5. The beauty of selective sharing, making social media your sanctuary. Now, here's a gentler path. What if the point isn't to share more, but to share more meaningfully? There's a difference between oversharing and authentic connection. You get to decide. This photo, this comment, this story, that's enough. The abundance comes from depth, not breadth. Think about a time you shared something that mattered. A poem, a sunset, a silly thought. And it sparked not hundreds of likes, but one honest conversation. That single message, this spoke to me, can outweigh 1,000 scrolls. Your digital space can become an altar, not a stage. What will you offer it? Selective sharing is an act of self-respect. You don't have to throw open every door. Just choose mindfully which moments you want to let in the world. Even a single pebble dropped into the pond creates ripples. What small truth could you share today? 6. Navigating pressure and finding joy. Rewriting the rules. Social media brings pressure. The fear of being boring, missing out, not matching up. But what if you rewrote those rules? What if the joy wasn't in performing but in connecting? There's power in refusing to measure your worth by algorithmic applause. A listener once told me she decided to post art, not for followers, but for the calm it brought her. Suddenly, comments and numbers faded in importance. Instead, she measured her day not in likes but in moments of flow, of honesty, of connection to self. This is your invitation. Let social media serve your joy, not your anxiety. Use it to savor, not to strive. Follow pages that nourish your soul, unfollow what drains you, and post only when the impulse is true. Your digital life can be a compass, not a competition. Now let's peek at the hidden gift inside your online quietude. 7. The gift of digital silence, turning inward. When you're quiet online, something unexpected happens. Your inner space expands. You notice more. You feel more. Instead of chasing validation, you become your own home. It's a little like walking in the woods without headphones. Suddenly, you hear the rustle, the birds, your own heartbeat. Use this silence to listen. What do you hear in yourself? Which dreams wake up when you're not broadcasting your every move? You don't need to turn your volume up to matter. Sometimes, real presence, the kind that changes your life, can only be found in the quiet after the crowd. There is wisdom in turning away from the noise. Let it become your sanctuary, your well, a place you draw strength from. And as you discover more, you may find yourself ready, not to break the silence, but to share it, on your terms. Your silence, your power. So the next time you pause before posting, or scroll instead of sharing, remember, your digital silence is not emptiness. It's space for reflection, self-respect, and authentic connection. If you want, you can share that space carefully, consciously, and discover that even in settling dust, there is brilliance waiting. So, what does your silence say about you? Share one word or feeling in the comments that describes your reason for holding back. Your story, even a small piece of it, might be exactly what someone else needs to feel seen today. If this journey resonated, consider subscribing to join our community. We explore a new path inward every week. Until then, keep listening to yourself and to the quiet.